Welcome to the 359. I'm Roger Chang.
I'm Ben Fox-Rubin.
I'm Alfred Ng.
The Facebook saga continues today with CEO Mark Zuckerberg set to testify before the Senate this afternoon. But before that, Facebook has rolled out notifications to users about whether they've been affected by the Cambridge Analytica data breach. Now, I don't know about you guys. I got a notification. I didn't actually click on the app, but one of my friends did. Whoever that person is, you are no longer my friend. But I'm one of the 87 million affected. Were you guys affected?
Not that I know of, but apparently this is getting rolled out in stages, so it's possible we find out about this a little later.
So the rollout began yesterday at noon Eastern, and I just got my notification today. So it's definitely
I might have been affected on my old profile, but I've deleted that one and set up a new one where I only have like 30 friends.
You're a new Alfred, and we're not friends.
Yep.
Nor will we be.
Yep.
So
because you've been infected now, so I don't want that.
That's true.
I don't want those germs.
Zombie rules, right?
So you're actually a lot more active on Facebook than I am. I haven't really shared regularly on Facebook for years. I am on there more often than I'd like to be, though. But after finding out that you were affected by this, is this going to have any sort of impact on the amount that you share, the type of things that you share?
Not really. I mean, I take proper safeguards with how I share things. As we were talking ahead of this taping, when I share photos of my kid, I keep it locked down to a fairly closed network. Like if you're my friend, if you're really my friend, you probably can see my kid's photos. Otherwise,
Alfred.
Sorry,
but
Alfred.
it doesn't take like your photos or anything like that. So that wouldn't matter. Like it's more so like looking at your likes, your interests, and it's not things that you're sharing.
But it doesn't matter. It's the broader principle of being mindful of what you share and how you share it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessarily about the data that Facebook is taking.
Yeah.
It's about having good practices, good best practices when sharing the information that you want to share on Facebook.
And then badgering your friends to make sure that they have best practices too.
Pretty much. Although, I mean, the way I have it set, I mean, even if you like or share one of my photos, their network of friends can't see them.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, it has nothing to do with this particular breach, but I think it's more about being smart on Facebook.
I just think you shouldn't blame your friends for these kinds of things, though. Like, it's not like they like took this quiz, like this personality quiz, thinking like, yeah, this quiz that tells me what my digital life is definitely going to steal information on all my friends. It's kind of like they're not like...
Don't blame them for
No. Yeah. I'm totally going to blame them because it's a lame quiz and they shouldn't be wasting their time with this crap.
Ouch.
All right. So next up, is net neutrality still kicking? Oregon became the second state to pass a bill that protects the rules of an open internet. Now, it doesn't have its own net neutrality rule, but basically requires any internet service provider doing business with the state to adhere to the policies of our current rules. Now, this comes ahead of the April 23rd deadline for when net neutrality ceases to exist.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, to me, this is all about introducing more complications, right? When Ajit Pai and the FCC said they wanted to dismantle the rules, they wanted to add some stability, and they wanted to basically make it clear for businesses or for ISPs trying to invest in their networks that these are the new laws of the land. The only problem now is now
if
Oregon.
You work with these governments.
Yeah, Oregon. No, now Oregon. Now Washington. New York has proposed a similar rule.
New Jersey, Montana.
New Jersey. There are tons of states now that say, well, if you want to work with us, you've got to honor these other rules of net neutrality, the same rules that the FCC is dismantling. So
those are narrower. Those are only if you're an ISP working with that government. But
yes,
it does
but
create
that's the thing. Like
incentives.
if you're working with the government, like you kind of have to follow those rules for everyone. If you're also working with those governments, that's the principle behind this. And so this, in my mind, causes more complications.
I don't disagree with that at all. It's kind of a pain.
All right, Verizon's latest data breach report paints a grim picture of hackers. The amount of ransomware, which locks up your computer until you pay a ransom to unlock it, doubled last year. Now, ransomware, that was the hot word for 2017. Is it still for 2018?
Yeah, it's definitely not on the scale that it was in 2017 in the sense of, here's like this massive attack that hit everything all at once, but like it's still like slowly trickling out on like, a lot of like municipalities, a lot of universities, offices and things like that. Like, just a few weeks ago, we had heard about the entire like city government of Atlanta being shut down by it. That's the thing though. Like, all these reports always come out. We say like, here's all these crazy things that are happening with ransomware, and it seems like nobody takes any action, and it just continues to like grow.
But isn't there like a new action? You were telling me about this before. There's a new effort beyond ransomware that's getting a lot more traction in 2018, right?
Yeah, crypto jacking. But that's like just like cryptocurrency mining.
All right, we're out of time. For more on those stories, check us out at CNET. I'm Roger Chang.
I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Alfred Ng.
Thanks for listening.
What?
All right, thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and jump in and start pulling some great questions from the chat. We already got a couple, so let's jump right in. From James H., he's got a rumor and a question here. Does Facebook and their crew own every single picture I've ever uploaded?
No.
No.
I remember there was this like hoax going around
Yeah.
on Facebook before. It was like, Facebook just changed their policy and they own all your photos now unless you post this as your status.
And share it.
Under the Roman statute, like 1842
Yeah.
CC, blah, blah, blah.
That's
No.
worse than the quiz.
That is worse than the quiz.
People who participate in those, it's worse than the quiz.
Well, I mean, it's the same. I guess it's the same deal, right? They don't know. I mean, most of the time it's shared with good intention because you think this is legit, even though it's not.
For every like, we get $1 more towards cancer surgery. I'm suppressing my language right now.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with those like spam emails that I remember from back in the day where Bill Gates is going to give you $10,000 if you share this with 5 people.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Those chain mails.
Yeah.
Oh,
All
yeah.
the chain mails. It's,
Yeah.
it's you know, it just moving that over to Facebook or Twitter or whatever.
Chain mails are the cockroaches of the internet. They will survive every
I haven't gotten
presentation,
them in a long
every
time.
incantation.
Well, no, but they kind of like changed form, right? You stop getting them in email, you get them on your social networks now. Although I guess I don't get a lot of those either now.
But I definitely do want to clarify, though, that Facebook or Instagram, whatever, or WhatsApp, anything that Facebook owns, they do not own your photo. Like, that's
Yeah.
not
You
there.
still own it.
Yes.
And you can do with it what you want.
All right, next in line, we got one from Mike Shaw. This is a comment, less of a question, but an interesting perspective, and I think we could all editorialize on it. Net neutrality. Meh. Free market forces will protect internet freedom. Less government regulation is always good for innovation, and more competition means lower prices. Can we expand on that thought? Because
Yeah,
I don't know
I mean,
if it's so
look-
black and white.
No, it's definitely not. That's definitely more a position taken by internet service providers, Republicans, folks who, believe in the free market system, believe in competition. That's true to some extent. I would say there's lots of competition in the wireless business. But when it comes to your local internet service, like there's not a lot of competition. You get 1 or 2 players. Service, generally prices are going up. Network speeds haven't progressed as fast as they should have. And really the big concern here is with these larger companies, especially as your internet service provider owns the content that you enjoy as well, that if they're like the single source for that, then that's a lot of power to give to a company.
Yeah.
There's competition, but the problem is there are fewer and fewer players all the time. These companies are gobbling each other up, and so the whole competition argument isn't quite as strong when there are 1 or 2 players as opposed to 4 or 5.
Right. That being said, whether we like it or not, Ajit Pai has pushed the ball forward to ensure that we're going to see what this is going to look like, and this is going to be a living experiment to see what happens when net neutrality rules get removed.
But the thing of it is I don't think that's going to be the case. I think, like it has been for the last couple of years, it's probably going to get tied up in litigation. There are going to be lawsuits filed. What you're seeing now with Washington, Oregon, these various states, they're kind of like pockets where net neutrality rules still kind of exist in a kind of a loophole. And so for a lot of these internet service providers, these cable companies, phone companies, it's a weird situation to be in. Like the whole deal was they want a little bit of stability, of clarity, to know what the law of the land is. And now the law of the land is like different depending on where you are. Mm-hmm. And I think it's even more chaotic now than it's ever been.
Well, not only that, but like it continues as you said, it continues the limbo that they were experiencing over the past couple of years anyway.
Yep, exactly.
As a rebuttal from Mike Shaw, he says, I agree with Roger that we need more competition. That is coming with 5G and Starlink, but I'd like to see more in the interim. So excellent points all around.
Yeah, definitely.
From Danny Green, following back up to the photos, he says, don't worry about Facebook itself doing anything with your photos. Be concerned by the trolls who steal your pictures and build a fake page using them. It's funny how far and wide photos can leak and what they can be put to use for. Haven't we seen people in the past wind up on like textbooks?
Ben, didn't that actually happen to you?
Somebody stole my name. There was a Facebook page for, it was Ben Fox Rubin 1. And I reached out to the guy and because what ended up happening was Facebook accidentally started using that page and not my page. Facebook. Sorry, at Ben Fox Rubin.
Facebox.
Facebox Rubin.
Fox Rubin.
That's my new name. But any link for a story of mine would go to that page instead of my own actual page.
Oh my gosh.
So I reached out to him and I said, you have to like change the name or take this page down. It was really kind of funny. Instead of apologizing, he said, I'm going to send this to a competing media outlet, and I've never been, harassed and assaulted like this before. This is totally unfair and ridiculous.
Wow.
Bro,
and
you
I'm like,
stole my name.
and I was just like, just change your name or don't. I don't care.
Wait, so is
But,
he
like, this
Ben?
isn't-
Is he also a Ben Fox Rubin?
No, of
doubt
course
it.
not.
Oh,
There's
all right.
no other Ben
Maybe-
Fox Rubin out there.
Maybe he is.
No, he isn't, and he changed the name, and Facebook got to the bottom of it. So good for them. For like, I reached out to them and said, "Hey, these links are wrong. They're linking to the wrong page," and they
Right.
did actually fix it up. But
Yeah.
it was interesting that the guy was trying to troll me and like threaten me when I just reached out to him and was just like, "This isn't fair." Like
Wasn't he also like sharing your articles that you wrote on
He was
CNET
also
or something
sharing
like
my
that?
articles.
So that's blatant. It's not even just
Wow.
like, oh, weird
Well, that
instance.
was the
We
other
actually have
thing.
the same name, which
That
I
was-
strongly doubt there's other Fox Rubins out there.
He said like, "I'm helping drive traffic to your stories. I don't understand like why you're complaining about this."
So
and
you
I'm
can,
like,
I mean, he probably sees it as a fan site. Maybe you had like a
"It's
a
not a
hardcore
fan site."
Then you gotta
It's not a
then you
fan
gotta
site.
label it like that. Because
But
what
I-
happens when he turns around and starts posting some really offensive propaganda with your same
like
name
one of
and
Ben's
reassociating
stories.
your brand?
He was
Ouch.
putting it with what was obviously like advertising for like online coursework. So
Oh,
he
okay.
was trying to
All
make
right.
it appear like it was like a fan page or
It's just
me
so
or
funny
whatever.
that he would choose you. No offense, but he would choose you.
Oh, offense
to
is
like
taken.
make.
Why would anyone want to be Ben?
Why would you want to be me?
Well, I mean, would you want to choose someone who's Never mind. You know what?
Wow, this
sorry.
sucks.
on that
I'm
topic
getting
though,
cyberbullied.
Senator Chris Coons, a Democrat from Delaware, he actually tweeted this out just this morning. He found that there's 2 fake Facebook accounts impersonating him, like a U.S. senator, and he's saying that all of the friends on both of those accounts are Russian bots.
Oh,
And I sent it to you on Slack if you wanna show it to our audience. But
All right, give me a sec. I'm gonna dig it up.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm looking at the screenshot that he took, and both of them are like his photo, saying that like he works. One of them says he works for the Department of Justice, and the other one says works at Chris Coons for Delaware, like United States Senator. But it's like
Well, what was the the Black Lives Matter story that came
Yeah.
out yesterday?
Yeah.
That was another one where one of the biggest Black Lives Matter
the
Right.
biggest Black
Right.
Lives Matter
Facebook
group.
pages
Yeah.
was tied to some guy in
It
Australia
was some white dude in Australia that really just wanted to make a quick buck off of
that was
like,
trying to raise money and then would just essentially
pocket it. Yeah,
which is crazy. And this is
here we are.
this
but
is
yeah,
another.
that is a U.S. senator who has 2 profiles set up impersonating.
Well, that
him,
should
so-
make for an interesting testimony today.
Yeah.
No offense, Ben, though, that I find it much easier to swallow that somebody wants to pretend to be a senator than you.
That was
I
my
mean, like,
point.
That's where Roger
that was
was
my
getting.
point. Yes.
Yes. Please kick me in the face a few more times. That's what I'm here
You should be
for.
flattered.
Look, I mean, like, that is a very good reason why Zuckerberg is going to be in Washington for the next 2 days. He has a lot to answer for. They haven't been minding the ship the way that they should have.
Right.
We've talked about it like a ton on this show, and it's
We
about
have
time.
Facebook.
It's about time some of these questions really get answered.
Yeah.
But pushing that forward a little bit, usually these types of hearings are so structured that I'm very skeptical that he's actually going to say anything that's materially newsworthy. Maybe some of the questions from the senators or the representatives are going to be newsy because they're really going to go after him.
Oh yeah, this is
But-
this is like the optimal grandstanding opportunity for these guys. So for these senators, so I imagine the questions are going to be fairly harsh. The tone's going to be pretty harsh. I'm looking forward to seeing how he responds to this. I mean, he's like I've said this before. He's kind of an awkward guy,
Right.
and he's not super polished when it comes to interviews. I know he's been prepping for it, but we'll see how he handles. This is several hours of testimony, so.
His prep work, I would anticipate, would be say as little as possible. Do not make news. That is
Right.
generally what ends up happening in these types of situations. So
Well, you
unless
saw
he
with that
goes off script,
You saw with that CNN interview, right? Like, pretty much went off script right away, right? He admitted to calling. He called it a breach when Facebook said it wasn't a breach initially. He even admitted to being open to regulation. That's like a big no-no for all these tech companies, right? They're always about like, oh yeah, we respect consumer privacy unless there's regulations involved, right? And so We'll see. That was only like what a 15-minute interview. Like this is several hours.
We've
of
seen one
harsh
person
questioning.
effectively go off script, and that's the president. I think very few people are capable of going off script and
actually it
living to
working.
What are
deal
you
with it.
talking about? Like, none of us are on script right now. Think about that.
Yeah, we're not famous.
He got you there.
We're not famous or
Whoa.
notable at all.
I mean,
Except
I
for
have
Ben
a
Fox.
Facebook.
Yeah, you're right. Ben
fan
Fox
page.
Rubin is. Ben Fox Rubin 1
Follow me
is
at,
clearly.
at facebook.com/BenFoxRubin1 because that's
Is that-
where
is that
Is
still
it still
around?
up?
it's still around. It's still around, but seriously, follow the real page.
All right, we are running out of time, but let's get a couple more questions in here. Hashtag respect the Ruben.
I love it.
Alien.
Yes.
From Alien or Suiton or Certain. I can't. Yeah, Suiton. I wrote a Facebook app. This is a great perspective to have as a developer in the
Oh,
chat right
yeah,
now, so
yeah.
thanks for including this. I wrote a Facebook app and was shocked at the amount of data my app had access to. Basically everything my network of friends posted, shared, anything with me, any app would have done that and logged it. And it's everything we've seen, but it's nice to get the perspective that even
Absolutely.
as a developer out
Yeah.
there firsthand is like, whoa.
Yep.
There have been just the other side of the coin from Amazon, where a lot of Alexa developers complain that they don't get enough information from Amazon,
Yeah.
and it causes their product to suffer to a certain extent. Now we actually see that Facebook was providing way too much information, and the balance is obviously very important.
Yeah, for sure.
From Piece of Potato, great name. I have a question. Does internet service from the carrier company, is that also affected by net neutrality? Because now they have wireless Wi-Fi routers that get that use SIM cards and internet plans from them.
Yeah, so wireless internet, mobile internet is was part of the net neutrality rules. Although I think they were enforced, but there was some leeway because, unlike like a home DSL or cable connection, the spectrum in the air is finite, so there are just physical limitations for how fast you can deliver service. So there was definitely wireless is definitely under net neutrality rules, but I think there was a little bit more flexible. Just remember that come April 23rd, once these rules are dismantled, there won't be any regulations. Basically, the ISPs are free to do whatever they want. They can prioritize if they want to. They just have to, I guess, they have to make it clear to consumers. They have to tell people that's what they're doing. I think that's the only real burden for them is like,
Well, like you said, the
we're gonna start-
legislation might be coming, so it might not materially change for customers that
right. Well,
quickly.
not legislation, but some legal
sorry.
action, litigation.
Litigation,
Yeah,
thank
litigation
you.
might stop it. Congress might step in and pass their own rules. There are all kinds of different X factors at this point. But I would say early on, like it's nothing's going to happen right away. Like April 24th, ISPs aren't going to start rolling out all these crazy plans. I think if there are any changes, they will be gradual. They'll be longer term. And no one's dumb enough to do anything on day one or even like the first couple of months because it's
Don't
Wait for
say
you to
that.
eat those words.
Don't say
We'll
you
wait to
know
find out.
better
You're right.
than that.
You're right. I just jinxed us. Sorry, guys.
Us, all of us.
All of us.
All
You're
right,
gonna have to pay
Humanity.
$10 to watch the show.
let's take a sharp left turn into Verizon territory. Piece of Potato also wants to know, didn't Microsoft already release an update on Windows 8 through 10 to protect us from ransomware? Well,
That is
life finds a
So
way.
I know what he's talking about. So this was like last week or so. Microsoft released an update for OneDrive that doesn't exactly protect you from ransomware, more so that it like has a contingency plan. So OneDrive now automatically backs up all your stuff,
Oh,
like all the
okay.
time. So if you are hit with ransomware, you can just revert it back to a stage like and have all your files like
pretty
before
smart.
that.
Yeah.
But if he's talking about like ransomware in general, like 8 through 10, because this is only really for Windows 10. So I think what he might be talking about is the patch that was released after WannaCry.
Yeah.
They updated a patch that was only for that specific strand of ransomware. And they released that to like even older models like XP and all this stuff. The problem with that is that people don't always patch, which is
yeah.
what
Yeah.
like how like a majority of like ransomware really spreads. They like
Right.
kind of target old systems. And yeah, so they did already release it, but it really doesn't matter if nobody's like installing it on their systems.
Gotcha.
Man, moment of silence
right.
for Windows XP.
That's all the time we got, right?
We are out of time. One question to put in the back of your heads to hang on to for a future show. Michael Brown says, where do we all think Facebook will be in 2, 4, or 6 years? I think that's a great question to ask because I do think we're going to see some significant changes in the platform in the near future. Exactly how? Can't answer that right now.
Yeah.
I think it's good to think about, though. Let's just remind everybody where they can watch and keep track of the hearings that are going to be taking place over the next couple of days.
They'll be streaming on a CNET's site.
Correct.
I mean, if you check out the top story on Facebook, our Facebook main story, the stream will be live, will be embedded in the story. You'll be able to watch both the Senate hearing today as well as the House hearing tomorrow.
And that link will be in the show description from today's episode. And be on the lookout for your notifications from Facebook about the privacy settings forthcoming.
Yep.
And thanks a lot, everybody. Great discussion as always.
Yep. If you liked anything you saw or heard here, check us out on CNET. Our podcast is available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Feedburner, Google Play Music, and the Amazon Echo. See y'all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.